Hello and welcome back to the Gaming Podcast Live. I'm your host, Mia, and we're here every 2 weeks to talk gaming stories, news, gossip, with your favorite content creators. Don't forget, you can keep up with all the latest news and features from Gaming Magazine by visiting us online at gamingmag.com. But I can't do this alone. So every episode, I'll be joined by a super special guest host. And today, it is none other than the wonderful Jeff Brutlag. Yo!
Hello, everybody.
Hello. How are you today, Jeff?
Oh goodness, I'm doing great. I've been a little busy, but I feel like that's better than not being busy right now. So yeah,
you know what? I feel exactly the same way. I'm a little bit under the weather at the moment, but I've been busy as heck. And by saying a little bit under the weather, I'm a lot under the weather. I'm so busy, in fact, that I forgot to turn off my air purifier. So let me just...
Oh, no. You know what?
That right there.
I wouldn't have even known. You're like, I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm like, you look like you're like ready to go.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I'm loving life right now. I'm ready to go. There, the world is not on fire. Everything's fine. There's no global conflicts going on at all.
If we have the mental, headspace going into every day just saying like the world isn't on fire, we're definitely we definitely it gets easier to go through the day.
It certainly gets a lot easier to get through the day. Absolutely.
Yeah. And just a quick reminder for everybody, those joining us live, you can interact with us in the Gaming Magazine Discord. There's a special Twitch chat section over there as well.
Oh, yes, of course there is. Yes, I completely forgot about that. Or if you're here live watching this right now, you can interact with us here in Twitch chat too. Now, of course, it's not just going to be us two, because we do have another super special guest this week. And it's one of gaming's rising star nominees, the fantastic ItsMeHolly. Hello.
Happy time zone.
Happy time
zone. How are you doing today?
I'm doing so well. It's 1 p.m. over here, so it's my morning on a Sunday. Getting the day started. Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Very, very
absolutely
happy
fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic to have you here. I hope you've had a wonderful morning so far. Just like, what time did you say it was for you?
It's 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
1 p.m.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I woke up at like 10. So
no, I feel you. I did I'm sick. I didn't wake up till like 2 p.m. today. Content creator lifestyle. Let's go. Yeah, wake up late, go to bed late. Let's do it. Yeah. Now we always kick off with the weekly recap. The weekly recap, including all the games we've been playing recently. So actually, Jeff, I'm going to start with you this week to give myself a chance to catch my breath. What have you been up to this week?
Gosh. I've been working on, as far as games go, I have been playing I'm sucked into Final Fantasy 14. It is never going to let its grips off of me. And even when I'm like, I should take a little bit of a break from it so I don't get burned out, I will sit there and be like, oh, but I can just click it. It's right there. It's like, it's just tantalizing me with its little seductive fingers.
So you've been on the podcast before. Like when you were on last time, had you played much of Final Fantasy 14? How far had you gotten into it then versus now?
I'm almost to the most recent expansion, but I was playing as a class that I wasn't super into, so I wanted to change classes so I can go back into the main story with something I actually enjoyed.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what class are you playing as right now, actually?
Right now I'm playing Red Mage, so it's been really fun to I
love Red Mage!
It's so good. It fulfills all my dreams of I don't know, I've noticed this one thing as when I was growing up. I was like, every main character in Final Fantasy games has a sword. But my favorites were always the spellcasters. I always loved black mages, white mages. So when I jumped into Final Fantasy, I wanted to be a black mage because I was like, I want to be shooting spells everywhere. But I'm like, I still don't have a sword. What the heck? So then they're like, but red mage. And I was like, oh, I get a sword and magic? Sign me up.
Yeah,
so
totally. Absolutely.
and backflip and all this stuff. It's great.
I still need to finish leveling my red mage. I've been like straight on that Reaper lifestyle at the moment. Just give me a big old scythe and like a demon inside. Just reflecting reality. Let's go. Let's do that instead.
Listen, carrying a scythe is hot. It is. It's hot people stuff. So like every time I've seen somebody as a Reaper just out and about, I'm like, you're hot.
I very much believe in reaping what you sow, and if I can be someone with a massive scythe that like just gives death to everybody who deserves it, then that's what I'm gonna do. I don't know what that says about me, actually.
All good things.
Hopefully. Holly, have you ever played any like MMOs, or you play any 14?
I haven't. I actually haven't. No, I do enjoy watching other people play it, but I've never gotten into it. I think I have like a very addictive personality, and part of me knows that if I start playing them, I'll get really sucked into it.
That is a very high possibility of that happening.
There's so much in there. For me, fashion is the end game. So like anytime I see like something like that looks really cool in there, I'm like, I have to do whatever I can to get that. That's it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think I spent like 1.4 million gil on an outfit just to go to a specific area that was cold in the game of this expansion, and I'm just like, I just need to look good while I'm killing my enemies. That's the most important part of this. Have you been up to much else, Jeff?
Kind of dipping my toes back into Pokemon as well. That has been Arceus. Like, okay, so I'm not sure if either of you played the new Pokemon yet.
I've played Arceus.
Okay, it starts off much slower than other Pokemon games have, so like that almost deterred me from doing it.
A lot of talking. There's so much talking.
That almost kept me away from it, but once I got past that and the game like really was just like, okay, go all the way over there, have fun. I was like, okay, and then I was just like interacting with all this little Pokemon. Like they do the cutest things. There are some Pokemon you're out in the wild and like they'll just walk up to you and be like, hey, hi, like what's up? You wanna talk to me? Can I get in that ball of yours?
Have you caught any shinies yet?
No, I haven't. I don't think I've seen any yet.
It's so weird. It seems to be completely random if you do run into them or not. Because like, I think it was within the first week of me playing, I found 2 randomly just out in the wild, and then since that, I've not seen any more. So, and those 2 were on the same day. It's super weird. Not including like the mission-based one that you get, but yeah, I think I ended up getting a green Stantler and like a slightly off gold Starly or something like that. But yeah, very weird.
Yeah, no, I don't know how the shinies really work in it, so I haven't like looked into that too much. But because anytime I've had gotten a shiny in any other ones, it's just been random. Like one shiny like crashed right into me when I was playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I was like, what the heck? It took me off guard.
In the past, like it's always been like I have to breed shinies because it's either I encounter them randomly or I try and use the methods that make them available in the wild, but I always mess that up. So it's like I spent like God knows how long just breeding a phalanx, like a shiny phalanx in I think that's its name anyways, the little row of Kirby looking guys in the helmets in Sword and Shield. Like I had to breed one of those shiny ones, and it took me forever. I actually gave up because I was doing it on stream, and then I gave up on it, and then I went back onto the game to check up on something. Literally the next egg that I had, the next couple of steps I took, it hatched and it was a shiny. And I'm like,
oh my God.
It was like 3 months later at that point, so I thought it's a little bit pointless. I'm not going back to Sword and Shield now, but that's so annoying. So annoying.
A little bit.
So yeah, is that all you've been up to in the last couple weeks?
I have been. Oh my God, I've been busy working on like a thing. I don't. It's one of those things where it's like I think I technically signed an NDA for it, but like I don't want to go back into the contract to see. So like I've just been like secretive about it. But there's a thing I've been working on that's a really cool thing. I think all I can say is that it's a brand that you all have definitely heard about. But I've been working on how to do some like revisions on some of it, so it's been taking up a lot of time. But it's gonna be cool.
Okay, cool. I'm excited for that mysterious thing. Yeah. As for me, I had my birthday last week.
Birthday.
Yeah, I hate getting older. It's terrible. I hate it. I'm not going to say how old I am because then I would want to go and throw myself off a cliff.
Mm-mm.
So,
It's 22.
yeah, 22. I
Yeah.
turned 22 for the 10th time. Yeah, I turned 22 for the 10th time.
Yeah.
I actually think that's accurate. Jesus. Um, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did some birthday stuff. I went out and I got sushi with family.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It's nice that places are feel, I don't know, it's weird. It feels a little bit safer to go out now, at least in the UK. Even though apparently here we're just pretending like the pandemic is over. Everything is just pretty much gone away, even though it's not. But we were pretty safe about things, and like my a lot of my family members were going off to different countries for a holiday. Like literally now, I'm the only one left in the UK. Out of all my family, I'm the only one left in the UK right now. So we thought we'd have one last hurrah before everyone went away. So yeah, we got sushi. It was great, and I bought everybody boba, which was an experience for them because it was the first time they've ever had it. And their reaction, it was underwhelming. To say the
Really?
least. Yeah, I was like, I thought you'd be so much more into this, but like parents. My sister loves it. You know, she loves anything. She's lived in like Asian countries for periods of her life. Like she was kicked out of Japan during the panini. She had to come back to the UK, unfortunately, but she plans to go back as soon as she can. That whole situation's been a massive pain in the butt. But anyway, that's not games. What I have been playing though, Elden Ring has taken over my life.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, who have either you been playing it yet?
Yeah. I can't. It's one of those games like I can't stop thinking about. It's like, okay, I want to play other games on stream, but at the same time, whenever I try and boot something else up, I'm like, I just really want to be playing Elden Ring right now. I just want to be running through that open world. And it's so weird to me because Souls games, I'm not a massive fan of Souls games. They're very, very hard, but I'll always hit a brick wall and I'm like, well, I can't do this. Like I'm stuck now and I just don't want to play anymore. But I think with Elden Ring, the difference there is, well, the multiplayer is a lot more accessible in this one, which is absolutely great. And if you find something that you can't get past, there's literally an open world that you can just go and explore and just kill some stuff and like level up and then come back to it later. Maybe you find a new weapon or something, which is great. The actual game design itself and the way that they've crafted the world actually feels a little bit like Pokemon Legends Arceus, funnily enough, in terms of the exploration. But it actually feels like there's stuff there and that the world was designed with a purpose rather than in Arceus where the world just feels a little bit empty. You know, it just feels like it's a big open field with Pokemon. Like there's so many like little minute details and places that you can go and like stories that kind of like are implied behind lore. Like I found this monster crying over a grave the other day, and it's like, oh god, what is the story there? Is like, did they lose a loved one or something? But there's like little bits and pieces like that which make it so much more intriguing to actually explore all this stuff and like hidden stuff everywhere. So that's been a heck of a lot of fun. The only downside I will say is that I can feel that kind of like that get good mentality kind of coming through.
Oh yeah.
When you play multiplayer, you leave yourself open to these things called invasions, and essentially anybody else who's in another game can come online. They can essentially invade your game and come in, like try and shank you and kill you and take, well, it just kills you and the person that you're with if you're playing in co-op. But that person is doing it for a special collectible or something. But what happens is you'll be playing it for like a couple of hours, then all of a sudden this red spectre will appear and start hunting you down and trying to kill you. It's another player, obviously. And it's just really annoying. It's like, I don't want to be punished for wanting to play a game with my friends, you know? It's like, oh yeah, that just happens if you play co-op, you know, that's the price you pay. You just got to like get better at it, you know? It's almost as if it is like a punishment. And I don't want to be punished for playing multiplayer, just even if it makes it a little bit easier, you know?
That's the thing. Like there's when it comes to Soulsborne games in like particular, it feels like the attitude is just, it's just like, oh well, if you can't do it, you just have to get better. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, but like if I'm not enjoying the process of getting better, why do I have to like, strain myself just to like, why does gaming shouldn't feel like a chore?
Yeah, defo. And like, I feel like it should still be something that you can opt out of. I'm not one of these people that says, there should be, it should be super, super easy to play a Souls game.
Right.
I know there is an element of challenge there. And as far as the games go, Elden Ring has been the most accessible game when it comes to difficulty. Because like I said, if you do hit a brick wall, you just go away, do something else for a bit, just get better, level up, get stronger, and then come back to it, and it's easier afterwards. But having, I don't know, just having you be punished for wanting to play a game with your friends, and I guess seeing that, some people would see that as a challenge. I see it more as a chore, because either it's like a 75% chance I'm going to die, 25% chance I'm going to survive with the help of my co-op partner, just because the person who's coming in usually has better stuff than I have. Even if they're leveled down, they have weapons which like do bleed damage, and then after a few hits, I'm just absolutely decimated. And it's like, that's not fun to me. I don't really care about having to deal with this chore. I'm already dealing with the game itself, which is a chore in a way. And then you add this other thing every couple of hours that I have to deal with. I'd rather just flip a switch and say, I don't want to do that, And a lot of people would say, well, just don't do multiplayer. It just feels like that's so, again, it just reinforces that whole, you got to get good at the game.
But if you like the idea of just, I don't know, I guess in a sense I can understand wanting to keep that on, just because there's a level of almost realism to it, of like you're just minding your business and then suddenly someone's like, I don't like you, let's get you out of here, and like I that adds a level of excitement that I've never heard of in a game. So I understand wanting to like not feel like every time that happens means that you're gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody who sucks at those games, it means I'm gonna die, essentially. So yeah, and like I'd rather just have the experience where I'm just hanging out with friends and just like ganking things, and just it gets easier for myself than having to go through that whole experience.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, Lost Ark, I've pretty much given up on it after the server issues. I was just like,
oh, I didn't realize they had server issues.
Well, it was that popular that the wait times to the servers would take so long. So I would boot it up at the start of a stream, play like a different game for ages while it was loading in. And then after loading in, if I forget about the game, and because it doesn't give you a ping or anything when you've loaded in, I literally just have to run it in the background with something else on top. So by the time that I've gotten in, I switch back over to that game. It's like you've been kicked out for an activity. And like the wait times for actually getting in were worse than anything I've ever experienced, worse than Final Fantasy 14. It was like 4 to 5 hours to even get into the server. Because I'm in the European
5 hours?
Yeah, the European servers have just been absolutely decimated by people. And I think that's because there's certain content creators on them. That just means they're extremely popular. So yeah, it's like Tyson saying in chat, 17,000 people in the queue at one point, and if you get kicked out of that queue as well, I think you go straight to the back. So it's a nightmare. So I gave up on that. But yeah, it's all just been Elden Ring, really. Holly, though, I want to know what you've been up to recently. What have you been playing?
Different games. I've been watching.
No, I love it.
A lot of content creators I know are loving Elden Ring. I have been watching a lot of that, but I have not played. My favorite game that I played recently, I played it last week, is a horror game that just came out called Martha is Dead.
I've got my eyes on that. How did you feel about it?
Okay, well, no spoilers. This is a no spoiler stream, but I play a lot of horror content. I love horror games. I have never been so shocked by a game ever. The storytelling was so powerful that the whole game, I was just so captivated by it. I would highly recommend. It's like a 6-hour playthrough. The character development was incredible. And I play a lot of horror games that rely on cheap jump scares. This was not one of those games. This was entirely psychological. Most of the horror games that I play, I'm very reactive to games. I get scared very easily. So it was fun to play a horror game that wasn't scary in the traditional sense. Highly recommend it. So I played that. And then jumping from that into like Jurassic World evolution, Planet Zoo moment. I know I saw Evo in the chat saying I was thinking about all the giraffes that have unfortunately passed away. Not by my doing. I would never do that to a giraffe. I love animals. But yeah, just getting into
what happened to these giraffes then? Why are there giraffes passing away?
Listen, sometimes unfortunately giraffes succumb to diseases or old age. A lot of that's out of my control. You know, I would say that I provide a very excellent environment for all animals to thrive in any game that I've ever played. So out of my hands, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, understandable.
And then I got into, for the first time, Fortnite yesterday. I've never played Fortnite. It was a redemption from a stream that I did a couple of months ago, and I have just been busy. I haven't been able to plan it. So I played Fortnite for the first time yesterday, and it was, as I expected, so much fun. I don't think I've ever had that much fun playing a game. So I will definitely be playing that more.
Yeah, funny you say that. Actually, we have a show called Let's Go Gaming, which we do every single week on either Wednesday or Thursday. The last one, it was suggested that we play Fortnite. So I jumped into Fortnite with other creators, Hey Shay Lady and Nimbly. And I've always been one of these people who's like, Fortnite, it's so popular. And I really hate the fact that it used to be like a kind of like a wave defense game that then got kind of molded into a battle royale when it wasn't that successful. So, and as somebody that was a founder of the original game, I was always kind of like, damn, they changed my game. I'm so mad about it, and just never wanted to play it just because I would be so stubborn. But then I played it the other day and I'm like, it's fun. It's so fun. I get to have Spider-Man gauntlets and whip around. What is this?
Oh no.
I'm not even like, and I'm not a competitive like gamer. I'm not like an FPS esports legend type of gamer, but I just like I like the nuances of it. Like I like to get in the cars and drive around, you know?
Yes.
What I mean?
Okay. Yes.
I like to like knock down stuff with a hammer and do little dances. I just thought it was very cute.
Oh, so like with, so when people are playing, they can basically be like, oh, Holly was here.
Yeah, and I think that's really nice. And I played with friends, so it was, it was nice to the camaraderie of it was really fun.
Did you get a victory royale?
We got so many. I think we got 5 or 6. I mean, to be fair, we were playing on my servers, and I think there's like a skill-based level matchmaking situation going on. So they're probably like 11-year-olds playing for the first time.
That's the thing. Like we got like 5 victory royales in a row, and it was like we're just killing kids now, aren't we? That's what we're doing here. We're just in the kiddie pool, like beating up those children, and it's like, okay,
beating up some kids who just bought the game.
Exactly. Yeah, we're just beating up kids that just got the game. But it's fun. It's fun, and I definitely want to play again. We should play sometime. Totally, let's do it.
I would love to. Yeah. Well, it seems like we're both great at the game, Victory Royales.
Exactly.
So, my younger brother had like such a Fortnite phase. I don't know if he still likes it, but he tried to get me into it, and I tried playing it, and it wasn't as new as it is right now. Like they definitely added a lot to it, to where like if I were to try it now, I'd be like, oh, this is completely different, and maybe I would enjoy it. But I remember playing it being like, not for me. But I suppose for Mia and Holly, I would try it again.
Thank you.
It's a weird experience going into that game now, because it kind of feels like it's the Smash Brothers of shooters. There's so many like characters in there. Like I came across Rick and Morty in the game, like Rick from Rick and Morty, and I was like, what the hell is this character doing in the game? This character from a show that's not, I don't think they should necessarily be in a kid's game, but it's everybody loves Rick and Morty apparently. I mean,
Yeah, there's like Resident Evil characters. Like I was playing with Radamoji, and Radamoji was playing as Jill Valentine, and I was playing as a jellyfish.
I didn't even know that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's all of the different. It is cool to see who plays as who. I just like the jellyfish. It was dressed in bisexual colors, and I felt very, very represented by that jellyfish in that moment. So it was nice.
I love that.
Heck yeah. Was that all that you've been up to in the past couple weeks? Or is there anything
streaming
else?
Wise? Yeah, gaming wise, yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. I play I feel like I play so many random other games. I play a lot of indie horror games too. So there's been a few. I downloaded a bunch of games from itch.io in the indie horror category. And I didn't even look into them very much. I just like went down the list and was like, sure, I'll download that. I think we played 7 in one stream because they're all so short. We played this one called Mr. Tomatoes. which is a game where the main character is a large tomato and you have to cook him a meal. And the total playthrough time for me was 3 minutes. So
wow, okay.
speedrunning expert.
Wow. Submit
What
that
kind
to GDQ.
Yeah. What kind of
It
meal
was-
did you make for him? Hopefully it was a vegetarian meal.
I did make him a bacon smoothie.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Unfortunately,
All right.
there was ketchup involved.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Oh, damn.
It got dark.
Oh no. I didn't
How did he-
expect cannibalism, but here we are.
You need a liquid with the bacon in order to liquefy it. I don't know a lot about science, but it felt right in the moment. So
It's so weird that you say that. I actually went to Five Guys the other day, and I don't know if this is an American thing, but I had bacon in a milkshake for the first time. And I was my taste buds were very confused by that.
So, well, what
It's an
else was
experience.
in the milkshake?
I had like malted milk and lotus biscoff in there because you can
Okay.
pick your own mix-ins. So I thought that might go nice together, kind of like a sweet and salty caramelly type thing, almost like a pancake, you know.
Okay.
But it was a little bit too much. It was like smoked bacon, and even though it was like crispy, it was like, I don't know if that smoky flavor goes with caramel.
Yeah.
So the bacon was like an accessory to the milkshake, like it was adhered to the top of the milkshake, or it was like blended in.
It was in the milkshake. It was like bits of bacon,
Okay.
just like in too big to go up the straw, mind you. And they give you these paper straws, and they just fall apart. It's like
yeah.
okay.
That's the unfortunate thing sometimes with American food is like sometimes they try to throw bacon where it doesn't belong, and you're like, well, bacon can and should be used sparingly, actually.
It's true.
I mean, I love bacon, but that was a choice I will not be making again. It was fun up until that point, though. Everything else in that tasted great except for the bacon. So, anyway, it's time for a section we like to call bite-sized news, which is exactly what it sounds like. We go over everything gaming that has been in the news recently, and unfortunately, we're starting with one which has kind of like ticked me off quite a bit, as some of you will already know, or if you're new here, you might not know. I am a trans woman, so this is kind of like really annoying to me. Well, it's probably really annoying to a lot of people, but specifically, Texas has introduced a bill that essentially, I don't want to say criminalizes, but it presents trans affirmative care for trans youth as being child abuse. Basically, Governor, is it Greg Abbott? I'm terrible with names. Yeah, put out a bill which essentially was likening any trans affirmative care for children as child abuse, and said that these parents should be reported to the Child Protective Services and investigated. And the whole thing just makes me so angry, because a lot of it is based on misinformation and just general lies. Like I went and did some research, and I looked up some stuff for this story, and I was just shocked. I went into the comment section, and I was shocked like how many people are just assuming that any form of trans care. Now, when you say trans affirmative care, that can mean anything, you know, that can mean like mental health services, that can mean counseling. It doesn't necessarily mean like actual medical things to make people transition. It doesn't mean hormone replacement therapy necessarily. It can. It doesn't necessarily mean surgeries. Again, it can, but that's like, I've never heard of a kid, like a child, going through medical surgeries for transition until they're of age. And it also means puberty blockers, which for some reason are being likened to forced sterilization by which doesn't make any sense, because like a lot of people just don't seem to know how these things work. Little bit of education for those of you who might not. Puberty blockers are exactly what it sounds like. They're not just used for trans patients. They are used for, in a number of cases, but essentially what they do is that they block the onset of puberty, which is completely reversible. At least what it does is it stops puberty happening for long enough for that child to go through a number of years and then decide if they want to go through their regular puberty, their puberty that aligns with, the sex they were assigned at birth, or if they, are going through transition and they realize that they're actually trans and they want to transition to the other gender, they can then start on hormone replacement therapy, which takes them through the appropriate puberty that they would want. But a lot of people seem to think that, again, are likening it to forced sterilization, which is mind-boggling to me. Just the amount of misinformation that's going on. I came out and I talked against this bill being introduced because obviously, it's a horrifying thing for the parents. Imagine just living in the state of Texas and all of a sudden, just because you want to care for your child, you're now being investigated by Child Protective Services for even like taking them to see a medical professional. It's mind-boggling.
I just can't imagine, like, just because the first thought I thought of was how traumatizing that has to be for trans kids, just hearing that this bill is now a thing, and now not really being able to know who they can trust regarding just knowing that about themselves.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm sure that this will like encourage probably weird forms of vigilantism, perhaps, like, or even like false flagging people down. Like, imagine living with the threat that at any time, if you come out, if you live the way that you want to live, all of a sudden, like a teacher, a friend, or anybody in your life couldn't call up Child Protective Services and say, like, your parents are supporting your transition, and you're now being investigated for potentially or what the state has deemed as child abuse. It's insane. Like I've been looking at interviews with parents, and they're all like so shocked and appalled and just living with the fear now that at any point they could be just have their kids taken away. And it's really upsetting. Like
this is stuff you see in like dystopian movies. Like, this is straight up like I go between like I want to like know like what makes somebody so just it's evil is what it is, like, to where you would want to do something that would actively harm both these parents and these children's lives, but like at the same time it's like I also don't want to know, because it's like there's so much going on there that has nothing to do with trans people, to where like why do this to a whole group of people that are just trying to live their lives?
Yeah.
To Mia's point, like it effectively takes away the ability for trans kids to have a safe space of any kind, because, if previously maybe they didn't feel safe at home, well, maybe they did have someone they could confide with in a school or in another public space. And now it's encouraging anybody to turn their parents in as child abusers. So it's, I think, incredibly traumatizing, like psychologically, as well as harmful to their physical well-being.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for the like from a personal point of view, if we go back to the 90s, when I was a kid growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, for the longest time, one of the reasons that I never came out is like this idea that being trans or even being gay was this thing that was the other, always presented as the other, the thing that you don't want to be. That was made fun of in media, in all forms of media. Like you think about just even on the shows where you wouldn't think it would be, like jokes in Friends, like Chandler's dad, or even saying that is weird, or in Ace Ventura, the scenes in Ace Ventura, which are incredibly affecting. And like just having that being so prevalent in the media and just in the day-to-day, and the fact that, trans issues never got talked about, and that it was this thing that was taboo and weird. For the longest time, that was one of the reasons that I never came out until I was like in my mid-20s. And it definitely caused me so much hardship and heartache. And even when I came out, I thought like I was because I've been programmed so much, I thought I was like letting my family down. I was doing something incredibly wrong. Unfortunately, my family are really accepting. They're really lovely. But to know that those kind of like mindsets, those prevailing mindsets of just, again, making trans kids the other, making trans people the other, making anything that's LGBTQ the other, is going to perpetuate these same types of mindsets, and it's going to actually ruin some people's lives. This is totally going to straight up potentially cause suicides. At the worst, this is going to do a lot of harm. And I think the thing that makes me pissed off the most about the situation is that whenever senators, whenever, like TERFs come out and propose these rules, propose these changes, they always do it as if it's in the benefit of children. Say, oh, we're trying to protect children. What part of this, it's like the bathroom bans, what part of it actually protects children? Which children? Just the general children? So you don't mind throwing the lives of trans kids under the bus for this proposed hypothetical situation that you've created, which never happens. Like, whenever I get into arguments about this on Twitter, and I know I shouldn't, but whenever I get into conversations about this on Twitter, there's always like people coming out of the woodwork saying, well, what if there's a family that's forcing their child to transition? It's like, in what universe? In what universe are there parents that are forcing that? In which universe are there parents forcing their children to go through transition? Do you see this happening a lot? Is this something that we're not seeing, that's not getting talked about?
Yeah, in what world are we forcing our children to go through something that makes their lives ultimately much harder?
Yes, exactly. It's like they'll always pick a hypothetical example that is the furthest away from reality to justify these actions as protecting children. And it's ridiculous. What these rules are really for is to make it impossible for trans people to exist in society, full stop. Like the bathroom bans, the again, these kind of laws that would, again, make it potentially child abuse to even try and help your child. It's just trying to make it impossible for trans people to exist as a functioning member of society. And if it's just Texas, then it's Texas saying, listen, we just don't want you here. Get out. That's the message that they're trying to send. They're not trying to help anyone. They're trying to alienate and just get rid of any kind of LGBTQIA plus people in their state. That's the long and short of it, and it's just really, really frustrating that so many people are brainwashed into believing so much misinformation. I guess that's a general feeling, but that could apply to so many things. But when it's actually like affecting the lives of people, it just twists the knife even more.
Yeah,
I saw too. There was another, I believe it's a senator, and unfortunately I don't know her name, but I saw as a response to the news that's happening in Texas, someone like a public figure came forward and encouraged public physical acts of violence against trans individuals, from this. So it's
that is what it will
scary.
lead to.
It's incredibly dangerous.
It'll totally embolden people to do more against, like trans people. That there have been like so many trans deaths that just don't go reported on or just don't get any news coverage because it does feel like it's not necessarily sensationalized enough for the media and nobody really cares about it. But it's not all completely bad news, I guess. Obviously, this is horrible news, but there is the idea that, this isn't necessarily a legal bill. It won't necessarily actually hold up anything in court if these things did happen. I mean, it doesn't change the fact, the reality of being investigated by Child Protective Services and just going through that in general. But it doesn't necessarily hold up legally, this bill. And there are already so many organizations coming out and providing services and trying to take action towards trying to make positive changes for trans people and trans youth. And there are a lot of things that you can do. You can actually check out, I don't want to plug anything, but you can check out some of the articles on gaming. NYC Gamers is doing a lot of work in order to help support trans youth. There are some resources that you can access on there, as well as there's another article with different resources and different ways to help the trans youth of Texas over at gamingnmag.com too, if you want to check that out. But yeah, that is a lot. So maybe, yeah, let's move on to something a little bit lighter. What have you been looking at recently, Jeff?
So this actually was like, this is completely news to me. But apparently Dead by Daylight is getting its own board game. And
I saw this.
Exciting
Yeah.
stuff.
I was reading up about it a little bit, and I don't know, it seems pretty cool.
Like I saw it. Well, here's the thing. Like I love the idea of a Dead by Daylight board game, and I was looking into it, and I'm hoping that it's just going to be what it appears to be is that it's going to be you're moving around a board as survivors trying to get to generators in order to put tokens into the generators and gain points from those generators in order to win the game. Whereas if you, I think you have the killer in the game too, and if you play as the killer, you have to go and hunt the people down just like you would in the game, and do damage to those people and end up hooking them in order to win points on your end too. Now, in terms of the actual concept of it, it sounds pretty cool. Like I could kind of get behind that. I'm hoping there's a little bit more to it. I've seen that it comes with like miniatures and stuff like that, which looks really, really cool. There is there's actually like a miniature potentially that you get of the actual hook too, which you actually get to physically take the miniatures and hang them on, which looks pretty awesome.
I love that. I love when like board games have little like bells and whistles that make you just like want to get into it more. That sounds cool.
My only worry on this end is that I don't think you'll probably get any of the licensed characters in here though. It'll probably be all the original characters, right? Like there's nothing to confirm it, but I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that the licenses for like your movie characters like Freddy and Leatherface and stuff like that is probably not going to make it to the board game. I'll be surprised if they do, but that'll be a lot of fun to see. I really just want to get it just so I have the little hook so I can put people on it.
Yeah.
They did well with their marketing then.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, I think it could like potentially introduce a brand new audience to Dead by Daylight. I always think it's fun when they do board games off of video games like the Fallout game. My dad loves Fallout, and the Fallout board game, he tried to get me to play with them. And it was a bit convoluted, I will say. It was really complicated. This one seems a bit more approachable to the majority of people. But
I can't, because I know you're into horror stuff, Holly, but have you played Dead by Daylight a lot?
Yeah, I played Dead by Daylight a lot off stream usually with like friends in a Swift.
Okay.
But I like Dead by Daylight. I played it for 1.5 years, 2 years maybe.
Okay.
With Dead by Daylight, it's just like I really want to get back into that game. They've added so many cool characters now. With like we talked about in the last podcast, Sadoko came out. I just want to jump back in, but I can never find like a good time to jump in or a group of friends to play it with. So maybe I'll do it eventually. But the last time I played it, I just went too hard on it. I tried to do all the battle pass-esque stuff. And the problem that I kept running into was like the people in the game with me, the randoms that I would play with, they didn't know what I was doing in the battle pass. So if I was trying to do a specific goal and they screwed it up, I'd be so mad. I would get so salty about it that I would just quit out completely. So that's the issue I had. If I go back in, I probably just ignore all of the battle pass stuff and just play it for the sake of it.
Yeah, it really is a much more enjoyable experience if you're playing with a group of people. Because if you're solo queuing as a survivor and you're going in with other survivors, to your point, how like if they don't know what challenge you're working on, but also like just on different skill levels. Like when I was solo queuing, especially when I first started playing, I mean, it's skill-based matchmaking. So when I first started playing Survivor, not only did I not know what I was doing, but none of the other survivors knew what we were doing. So we would all just be like on the outskirts of the map, like urban evasioning our way to the game. I remember when I first started playing, I would go in and like immediately look for the hatch, which is how you can escape when you're the last survivor on the game, not knowing that the hatch doesn't spawn until there's only one generator left. So the whole time I would just walk around trying to find the hatch.
You got to get on those Jennies. You got to do your job. Get on the gens. Come on.
You gotta do your job.
Jennies.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
So have you all do you all play board games in general? Speaking of actual board games.
I love board games. It's one of those things where like anytime I want to get back into them, things, a whole pandemic happened.
Yeah,
So meeting up in
definitely.
person for those didn't really help. But they're just so much more. There's something more interactive about them almost. Like it feels so fresh compared to like I love. Like, don't get me wrong, I've been gaming for as long as I can remember, but like there's something about getting like a group of friends together for a board game that's just has so much more of like a party feel. It's just like you're just
Mm,
having fun, kicking back with your friends.
definitely. Like I love a good board game. The problem is I never have anybody to play them with. It's like I have nobody who lives close to me, and the pandemic has made it pretty much impossible. I actually went to a board game cafe not long ago. One of the yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got sick completely. Like I got sick afterwards. It
Oh
wasn't,
no.
it wasn't COVID, thankfully.
Good,
But
good.
yeah, which is so annoying because like I get sick easy because I'm actually immunocompromised. But the fact that it's like, oh, I'm having so much fun, I instantly got sick afterwards. Like, okay,
Oh no.
okay. But I would love to play more board games with people. It's just getting people together is just impossible at this time.
It is.
Mm,
Have either of you played? I feel like this one's pretty popular, but Betrayal at the House on the Hill.
I've not. What is
No.
that?
Oh
I
yeah,
already like the sound of it.
it's essentially you like the map continuously like builds. Like you can like you like explore and then like you when you like open a door like it like turns into different rooms and you're basically like in this haunted house sort of setting and eventually during these like spooky things can happen. You all pick between like different cast of characters, and then eventually, like so under certain conditions, there could be a haunt that starts, and that's like when the game like really starts. And like
This sounds like Phasmophobia, the board game.
oh, it's so it goes across so many genres of horror though. Like there are like ghosts, there are like vampires, there are aliens. Like
Ooh.
you like they're the different kind of hunts that can happen. Like and then basically like whoever triggers the hunt becomes the villain. So like it then sometimes it basically becomes
Okay.
like everyone else against that person. But like it almost in like almost kind of in like a Dead by Daylight sense, but like so many different things could happen to the point where like every time you play the game, it can be a completely different game.
That's awesome.
So
I totally
fun.
want to play
Look into
that.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. I usually go for the classics like Settlers of Catan. I don't know if you ever played that, but that's like
All I've heard is it makes friends no longer friends.
yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Maybe that's why I have nobody to play board games with anymore. That's
Yeah,
I
wow.
just
I used to play Settlers of Catan with so many people, and now I don't know where they all went.
yeah, they all went away. Can't imagine why. Can't imagine why. Catan's great though. It's like it's one of the mainstays of like board games in general. But I definitely want to play that a bunch more. And tabletop sim, somebody mentioned in chat too, is absolutely fantastic if you want to get into board games. But you know we're all separate right now. But yeah, I've been playing Binding of Isaac 4 Souls too, which is like a board game version of Binding of Isaac. It's super, super complicated. Well, it's not complicated. It's just really hard to wrap your head around at first.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on there in terms of like it's a card game. But it's so much fun, and I definitely want to play just more of that with more people. It's just getting people together to do it, which is just such a problem. Like just a massive pain in the butt.
Holly, do you have any favorites?
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of board games. I definitely haven't played in a few years due to the pandemic. I honestly think the last game that I played a board game was Monopoly.
Oh,
you know, the thing is like it's funny when people suggest Monopoly, I'm always just like, okay, like sure. Like we can do Monopoly, that's fine. And then once I get into it, I find myself being like, oh.
I get sucked in. Yeah, I become like an evil landlord. Like I take over the housing market. I crash the bubble. Like everyone's going to jail. Like I become a person that I'm not proud of. But
you have to win.
You have to win.
Yeah, yeah. It's capitalism, the game, right?
Yeah.
So you have to
pretty much.
You have to do it exactly. I always find Monopolies is just. I play it so rarely that I lose every single time I play it, and like I'm not proud of that at all. Like, but I'd rather necessarily lose in that game and be like, yes, I'm just gonna give my money to everybody else. That was my plan from the beginning. Yes.
Yeah. I just have to harden myself to like any feelings while I'm playing it. Where someone's just like trying to like barter with me to get like that one last property. I'm like, no, sorry, that sucks for you, I guess.
See, if you're losing a monopoly, you're just stimulating the economy.
True.
Exactly.
You know, it all goes around.
Just got to give everything away in the end. And speaking of giveaways, we have another story about a custom PC maker who apparently doesn't know how to do giveaways correctly. Artesian builds, not artisan builds, as some people have been saying, but artesian build. I don't even know the meaning of the word artesian. I think it has something to do with plumbing or something. I'm not sure. But artesian builds is a custom PC builder. And they've received a lot of flack recently. This is the greatest tea, by the way. I absolutely love this story.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out on the record and call them a bunch of dicks, but essentially they've been a bunch of dicks. So they have a stream for ambassadors. They have an ambassador program where it's essentially just an affiliate kind of dealio. You generate revenue for their company by sending people over, and you get a percentage. I think it's like a really small percentage back of those.
You don't even get a percentage.
I was, as someone who was formerly an ambassador, it was 1%.
1%?
They upped it to 2.
They upped it to 2. Wow. Okay. I see. So, every month or so, they do a stream, which they give away a custom PC build to one of their ambassadors. And they thought it was a great idea to look at the person who is going to win this PC, look at the size of their channel, look at their stats, and publicly roast them on stream and essentially say, you don't meet our requirements to win this giveaway, which at that point, that's not really how giveaways are supposed to work. I mean, that's incredibly shitty behavior at first, like literally, even if it wasn't like a giveaway based thing already, like pulling up people's stats on stream and just saying like, you're not good enough for something is awful behavior. And the cockiness of the person in question, who I believe was the CEO of the company.
When I heard that he's the CEO, I was floored.
It's shocking. I mean, I watched like the clips from that stream, and Kia, who's the content creator who's received the most kind of attention from this, obviously brought a lot of it to light. But it went on. I think there was four or five content creators that he was shaming, and all of them had different like reasons for why they weren't qualified to receive the winnings for the giveaway, whether it was their CCV or their follower count or how long their streams are, when the last time they were live. Like there were all of these qualifications that came out of nowhere, just didn't meet his expectations. But what I think is just so interesting about it, I mean, Jeff, you mentioned that you were a former ambassador. I was scouted from them a little over a year ago. When I was scouted, I was an affiliate with an average CCV of 30 maybe, and probably 1,000 followers. So I just think it's so curious. I mean, I assume for most of those people that are currently ambassadors, they were reached out to by members of the Artesian Builds team. So it's just curious that like their metrics, you know, their stats were good enough to represent their company as an ambassador. And then on the same hand, not good enough to receive the prize. It's literally like advertised for that specific group of people. It's very shady stuff.
I will say, having been in jobs where, you know, social media giveaways like that happened, I've definitely seen the mindset of, you know, some, you know, CEOs kind of being like, oh, we should just give the winner, we should give somebody who's going to give us a lot of good promo the winnings, which, you know, I get it. Like on some level, you want whatever you're doing as a company to like kind of have a return on interest somehow. But it's one of those things where you don't need to like be so public about it to the point where like we are literally seeing right through you doing it. Like you were doing it in front of a camera.
Yeah.
So
it's like I understand where that comes from. I feel like it's a little bit of the same mindset of, you know, if I ever do a giveaway on stream, I want it to go. I mean, I feel like this is more understandable. I want it to go to an actual community member that's been there for a while and that is actually part of the community rather than just some random who walks in. But that's not how giveaways work. You roll the dice and it goes out to whoever gets it. That's the rules that you set. You got to stand by them, you know, unless you're doing like a subscriber only giveaway or something like that. But
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's not how this giveaway worked.
Yeah,
They
that's
could
not
have
how this
changed it.
giveaway worked.
Yeah.
They could have changed the rules themselves, but they set the rules in advance, and they, like chat has suggested, they showed their whole asses directly on stream, just with how they treat their ambassadors, their partners. Like, is that the kind of company you want to get involved with? And it brought me so much pleasure. Listen, I'm not going to say I'm proud of this, but it's brought me so much pleasure just to see them getting clowned on, like all day that day afterwards, by everybody on Twitter. Even after they came out with their apologies, they apologized twice, and it was the most insincere BS that I think I've ever heard. It almost felt like the CEO was being dragged kicking and screaming into this situation where he had to apologize.
They apologized 3 times.
Three times,
and they've actually deleted all of the apologies from Twitter. They're all gone.
Have they?
Yeah.
Have they?
And
now?
I think the most recent tweet from what I saw this morning was in quotation marks, something to the effect of the employees are looking at like a private buyout from the CEO or something like that. I mean, it's just, I don't know if there's going to be a way for them to recover. It's just, at the end of the day, like, it was the CEO and the founder of that company came forward and said, like, my values don't reflect the values of this company. But if you're the founder, they kind of have to. You can't have certain values and then say, these are my values, but the company that I'm founding has a separate set of values that are completely different. It's doesn't really work that way. So
it's weird that, because like support. They're the one that will be benefiting from that at the end of the day. Is like, do you really want to, put money in the pocket of somebody whose values don't necessarily align with yours, Yeah,
and I have to assume that, like, not everyone, because I don't know how many employees are at this company, so I have to assume that, I would hope that at the very minimum, most of them do not agree with what he did, and when they saw that, were like, excuse me? And I'm sure that's hard as somebody, who's just an employee at the place. If they try to push back on something like that and he doesn't like it, what's going to happen to them? They're probably out of a job. So I would hope that someone I guess, so like when you brought up that, the tweet saying that they're looking into a buyout, like I'm hoping that goes well. And I'm hoping, because at this point, if my personal thoughts are, if the CEO is smart enough, and doesn't want to be selfish to the point where this company goes under, he will accept whatever terms there are, because like, or else, you're dooming a lot of these people to not having a job.
The most annoying thing about the situation is that, the people that work there are going to be the ones that suffer if it does go under, right? And that the person who is in charge can likely just move on and start something else, if they do get a deal and they're bought out of it and they get a bunch of money, they can just literally just move on and go start something else, not put their name forward, and continue to reap the benefits, and being involved in the community in a different capacity. It's like, people just don't like that kind of behavior. It's the kind of the same mentality as the kind of attitude that this person had is the same. I guess the same thing as like the kind of people that like become friends with a creator, like as a creator, and become friends with a creator to use them for their platform. And then once they've gotten through them and gotten bigger, they move on to the next person they can leech off of in order to continually grow. Like, I know the reason that everybody like pushed back against that so hard is that like we're all sick of seeing stuff like that. It's like we don't like people like that within our community, especially like a lot of us are gamers as well, and we get quite passionate about like defending our spaces from people that are trying to take advantage of them. And again, good news at the end of this story though. This has a positive ending though, because the streamer, well, one of the streamers in question, Kia Pia, who I believe was the first person who was picked out for the giveaway. I might be mistaken about that, but they were then offered a fully paid sponsorship with Cooler Master, which is super, super cool. Yeah. We actually have, I think we have the moment that they found out. If I can pull that up real quick. I don't know if you've seen it.
Streaming.
It's really cute.
Well, she's like taken off too, which is so cool. It's nice to see a whole community rally behind her. Like she's got 20,000 followers on Twitch now. It's so cool to see.
That's amazing.
I'm hoping there's audio from this. You can let me know if there's not.
I don't think there is.
I don't think, yeah.
There's no audio? Okay. So essentially...
You can reenact it. She's excited.
Yeah, she's excited. She's listening to the announcements. They're not even going to look at concurrence. She's just extremely happy that they've just offered her their sponsorship. For audio listeners who are listening to this and can't see anything, this is the best experience for you right now, I tell you what.
It's pure elation. It's like,
so cool.
You know, how when you get like the best news in the world and you just like don't know what to do with your hands kind of a thing. That's what's happening.
It's absolutely fantastic.
I mean, part of me is like, I mean, it was an awful thing it was horrible. I think everyone could agree that it was an appalling thing, which was nice. Everyone was united in the fact like this is unacceptable. Part of me is kind of glad that it happened in that way, because if he was brave enough to have those types of conversations on a live stream, knowing that his ambassadors were the audience that were watching and knowing full well that the person that he was bashing was probably watching it live, just imagine the types of conversations that are happening behind closed doors. You know, that could have very well happened off stream. So I'm glad that at least it was exposed and people could see the company for what it was and could make decisions to continue to support them or to not based on their values. And obviously it benefited the, you know, Kia specifically, but the other content creators, I think, also received a lot of support. So
yeah, I'm glad that that kind of turned out to be like a positive at the end of this. I mean, the only people that are really going to miss out is the people who potentially work for Artesian builds, other than the CEO. So that's kind of sad, but you know, hopefully they can find better places to go to. That's the only thing I can say there.
I will say there was somebody I would contact kind of for my own, you know, PC build related things or company related things when I was a partner with them, and it's one of those things where you're like, who knows what's going to happen in the future? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? But it seems like, you know, at least he definitely has like quite a passion for like getting the image of this company turned around and making sure they can move forward to do good things. Because I'll say like though like the terms of being an ambassador with them, like I was like, it was one of those like, it's nice that I can work with a PC building company. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to do. But you know, the streams were fun to watch. You know, the people who would come by from, you know, the company were nice people when they would come and check in on my streams and see what was going on. But it's just really unfortunate that the person who founded the company had those kinds of views and felt okay to do it live.
Just for the audio listeners, a cat has just made an appearance on Jeff's webcam.
Smokey said, "You are not going to guest host a podcast without me being present." So, hello.
I should have. I was tempted to. I've got 2 dogs and a cat. It's a very busy household here, and they're very involved. I was like, I'll keep them in the other rooms because they'll probably be loud. They get excited anytime I like start talking. They get all hyped up. But if they were in here, they would be right here.
Luckily, Smokey doesn't get too loud or disruptive. He just likes to just be with me. So I don't keep him out of the room too often, because I know if I were to keep him out of the room, that's when you would hear the screaming.
Totally.
I understand. Like my Machi, the little fussy cat that he is, I had to feed him directly before this podcast, otherwise he would be screaming his head off right now, and just like crawling all over the place. So he's currently sleeping with his head face down on a cardboard box over on the other side of the room at the moment. So that's wonderful. Yes. Anyway, we are just gonna take a quick ad read for a moment, and just to tell you that the pages of Gayming Magazine are coming to life this July in New York City. I'm really, really excited. I'm really, really excited for this. You can join 6,000 of your fellow gamers at this unique convention that celebrates all things queer geekery, from streamers, indie games to AAAs, crossplay, and drag icons. There's actually going to be a lot of wonderful guests there, including like voice actors and stuff for video games. It's going to be panels, it's going to be all sorts. I'm going to be there too at some point. So yeah. And that's I'm very excited to be traveling to New York. There is something for everyone, so head to www.gaming.live to find out more and grab tickets. If y'all can make it, I would love to see you there. It's going to be absolutely fantastic time, and that's in July. Gaming Live. Make sure you get your tickets because they will run out. So yes. All right. Other than that, it is time. It is time, Holly, for your spotlights. We're going to get to know you a little bit better. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I believe, Jeff, you have the first question.
So I know what I love about a Holly stream, but what do you feel brings people to your channel?
Well, first of all, I mean, I am a variety streamer. I play a lot of horror content, but since I started streaming, have always played a variety of games, horror or Animal Crossing, GeoGuessr, Planet Zoo. It really changes like day to day. And I think that the community that we've built here has found a lot of joy and like the kind of cozy chaos of the channel. Like no matter what we're playing, I feel like the vibes, for lack of a better term, are always very silly. I'm very kind of unapologetically myself. And it's been nice. I mean, to be honest, streaming has been really the first time where I feel like I've ever been able to just openly be like silly and goofy and have people rally behind it in such a way. Like I've never really had that in this capacity, like in my life outside of streaming. So it's been really fulfilling for me. And I think that the community that is there like picks up on that and they can tell that I am just being genuine and I'm not afraid to do something silly. I mean, from the first 2 months of streaming, there was a meme going around of Hannah Montana. I don't know if y'all remember this, but there was a meme that came out about Hannah Montana coming back to life. Like she was going to reinvigorate the Hannah Montana career. And there was like a name generator thing that you could do online, like the Rockstar card, where you would plug in your first name and it would generate for you like a Hannah Montana equivalent name. So when that came out, I did it and it was Holly, Idaho. And so from there, I was like, we're going to do a Holly, Idaho stream. I loved Hannah Montana as a kid. I loved the Jonas Brothers. So I thought it would be fun. I was like, I'll buy a blonde wig and like, I'll just do kind of like a cosplay of like my parody of what Hannah Montana would be if it was myself. And when I first did that,
just answered one of my questions as well. I was completely going to ask you about Holly, Idaho.
I'm ahead of the game.
Yeah, you're absolutely ahead of the game. What came with the love of corn, horses, and hot tubs? Like what?
Right.
Like how did Holly happen? How did you put this character together in your mind? Obviously, like an offshoot of Hannah Montana, but how did how did you choose these specific these things that brought the character together?
They've all kind of evolved naturally. Like none of it was planned. Holly, Idaho is never like a fully formulated character. It's all improv and it all like picks up from things that kind of stick, like inside jokes that stick within the community. The corn thing was actually because myself, Holly, outside of stream, one night I was really tired and I was watching Twitch and I wanted pizza really bad. So I don't know if y'all have this over there in the UK, but there's a pizza shop called Mod Pizza where you can like customize your own type of pizza. And I did it at like 9. Yeah, it's like a build your own type of pizza. I did it at like 9 p.m. and like put up a bunch of ingredients that I wanted on this pizza, right? And I thought that I had like vegetables and like roasted garlic and like all of this yummy stuff. And I get the pizza, it arrives to my home at like 9:30 p.m. and I open the box and the pizza, the first thing that I notice, corn. And I was like in a state of shock. And I looked at it and then I looked at the receipt on the outside of the box. And instead of roasted garlic, I accidentally clicked roasted corn.
Corn.
And so I shared that and it just kind of like stuck. Like corn was just kind of like a theme that stuck. So I kind of like wove it into my next stream as Holly, Idaho, which actually tied into the hot tub thing because this was around the time frame where like, do y'all remember the hot tub meta that was happening on Twitch?
Oh, yes.
Everyone was talking about the hot tub. So I thought it would be silly to do like a hot tub stream. So I put myself in like a green screen PNG hot tub, just like a picture of a hot tub, fully dressed, just like wearing a t-shirt. And I put myself in a cornfield because Holly, Idaho is from Idaho and the corn is just like where the character is from. And I streamed in the pools, hot tubs, and beaches category, like in a just chatting capacity. And this was when I had probably 10 to 15 people watching at any given time, but there were people who obviously enjoyed it. And Granny, who's a content creator that I love. Granny was one of the first content creators that I ever found on Twitch.
Granny's great. Yeah.
So
Loved her.
funny.
I mean, I still love Granny. I have been a subscriber since like the first month that I joined Twitch. Granny was streaming and was browsing the pools, hot tubs, and beaches category because it was like such a pressing topic. And while she was browsing, found like the still image of my channel that was just a picture of a potato with my eyes on it. Like I had my eyes in my mouth as like the
I've
green
seen
screen on
this.
top
Yeah.
of the potato.
It looks
Good,
amazing. Mhm.
Yeah. So she found that and I had no idea she was watching. So she like broadcasted my channel to her stream of like however many people were watching, 1,500 or something, to me just like singing as a potato in a hot tub in a cornfield and then as a blonde wig. So we had this like spontaneous kind of like 15-minute collab of like Granny was being in my chat and like I was just kind of like improvising with her in that moment. And that was one of the turning points of my career on Twitch. Like a lot of my audience that's still here today found me from that stream like a year ago. So it's just from there kind of evolved. I mean, anytime I do a Holly, Idaho stream, from now it's usually like centered around something that's happening. Like I did Happy Holidays. So I did like a Christmas one, and then I did a Halloween. I did like a Halloween one. Yep.
Awesome.
Lots of puns. And then I just did one recently that tied into the social post for the Gayming Awards because the photo that was chosen from Twitch is me as Holly, Idaho, which I thought was so funny. It was actually from the same stream of me as in a hot tub a year ago. So it's all kind of tied in, but it's just something fun. It's something that people really enjoy, and I have fun doing it.
Heck yeah. Like, would you say that that's your favorite type of content to create on Twitch? What is your favorite type of content to create? Would it be video games? Would it be collabing with other creators? Your Holly Idaho streams? What would you say is your most favorite thing? I think
probably gaming, to be honest. And like I said earlier, I don't really consider myself a competitive gamer, but I love games. Like I love exploring games. I especially love a game where I have the ability to like find the nuances. Like I love anything that I can make silly, or even in a horror game. Like if I'm walking around and I can interact with random objects in there, I'll be like digging through the fridge. I'll be like pulling out the milk carton and putting it in the bed and seeing what happens. Like I just love exploring. And I think I'm very interactive with the chat. Like I like to involve my community in whatever I'm playing. So it's always fun where there's someone in there like just enjoying the experience with me. I love enjoying the experience of video games with other people. And I don't really play video games off stream. Like I do it almost exclusively on stream because for me, a lot of the fulfillment comes from getting to experience it with other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love chatting. Like I usually open up stream and like the first 45 minutes is checking in, how everybody's week's been, and kind of going through like the breakdown of what's happening in the week. I love that. And Holly, Idaho is something that I reserve just for special occasions. And I do find it fun. I've never done any sort of like improv before. So it's fun for me to kind of develop that skill set, something I never knew I was even capable of doing. It's been kind of
fun. I mean, talk about like having just you utilizing like a moment of just like being in the spotlight and being like, I'm going to like make good use of this. And you did. That's amazing.
Thanks. I have fun. Yeah.
So I guess I hear that you're the scream queen of Twitch.
I've been told that whenever I scream exclusively in the key of C6, which I think is really, C6, which is a just fun fact.
So I was actually going through clips for the just looking into different stuff, and like even the TikTok, right? And like there are so many moments where you'll just scream, which I was not expecting, and every single time it sounds like it's a clip taken from a movie and just played over the stream. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. It's just. But I did have to take my earphones off to go through the rest of them.
There is like an inherent headphone warning if you're in my stream. It's one of the reasons I love horror is because I'm very reactive. I feel like I have a lot of, I don't know, I'm very immersed in whatever I'm doing. So whenever there's a jump scare, like 10 times out of 10, I'm horrified. Like it's the most impactful experience. I feel like whenever the developers of horror games are making jump scares, I feel like I'm their ideal audience. They're hoping for the reaction that I will give them.
They're like, that's it. That's the one.
That's the scream. Yeah. But But it's always been that way. I mean, like the first horror game that I played on stream, which is actually the first game that I played through on stream, which was Alien Isolation. I played through that game on Deer's recommendation, and it was horrifying.
Yep.
It was so scary. I was screaming like the whole time. And again, this was when I was like just starting out as a streamer. And so the reactions they've always been a part of the channel.
That is one of the games like I've refused to play.
It's scary.
Yeah, it sounds it. Actually, what is the most scary game that you've played, do you think?
In terms of like terror and like anxiety to continue, probably Outlast. I had to play Outlast in like a series of 3 sessions that spanned over like 4 months. Like I started it and I played 3 hours in and I was like, I'm going to uninstall this. And then I had to come back to it.
I think the thing with games like that is like just that I can't stand is the lack of any sort of control. Like I love stuff like Resident Evil, even though it's a different kind of horror. It's more like horror action. But the thing that I can't stand in like games like Alien Isolation and Outlast and the like is just you just have zero control whatsoever. You're just there in the element, and like even if something attacks you, you cannot fight back whatsoever. You have to get the hell out of there, or you're dead. You're dead. And I don't know, my heart just can't take it. It's just too scary to me. I can't do it. So yeah.
I've been told that I might have an addiction to anxiety, which I think is very true. Because I definitely get scared. I mean, I'm very anxious playing the games, but something about it's very, I don't know, it's kind of like you don't have control on what's going to happen to you in the game, but it is a game. So I'm kind of like reinvesting all of my emotions and completely immersing myself into this brief period of time. For me, it's really fun. Even though it might not be fun traditionally in the moment, I continue to do it because I find enjoyment in it. Like I wouldn't do it if I was miserable.
Right.
But the scariest types of like horror games that I personally just get so scared by, or anything that you're being chased, or like where there's like something you have to evade, like Alien Isolation, you'll find that. Outlast, you absolutely find that. I just find it so thrilling. But it's really rewarding when you can beat it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, is the immersive part of it like the part you enjoy the most? Because I feel like I've noticed that especially like queer folk have like we're drawn to horror for some reason. Like even if we're like super afraid of it, like we still want to watch it. We still want to consume like some sort of horror content in some way. So like,
yeah. I know the immersion is definitely part of it. I don't really know. I agree. So many queer folks are so drawn to horror as like a category, whether it's games or movies.
The amount of LGBTQIA plus created I've seen playing Dead by Daylight, just every single it's crazy. It's crazy.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I won't speak for everybody. For me, it's I think like part of it is just being able to reinvest. Like I'm a very anxious person traditionally. I have a lot of anxieties about the state of the world and like my job. You know, there's things that I'm sure a lot of people experience, but to be able to kind of redirect those emotions into something that's temporary and it has a bracket of time. Like I am playing this for a very specific brief window of time, and I'm going to invest my energy into this in this moment. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of cathartic in a way, which sounds weird. Like when you're being murdered in a video game, it's weird to say that's cathartic. But
well, I guess in a sense, like I can almost see that like it's like the anxiety is only temporary. It won't last forever.
Yeah. And then when it's over, it's like it's like, oh, you overcame that. Like you were really scared about the whole thing and you got through it. And that's one of the reasons why I like doing it on stream. I would never play a horror game off stream, specifically one that I've never played before. I would never do it. I'd be so scared, but to have the support of people that you know there, and whenever I get really scared, I can tell that people pick up on it because like my mods will be like, "It's okay, Holly, take a breath." It's nice to have people kind of there with you in a sense.
It does work so much better as a social experience. Like I can't imagine just sitting alone in the room playing a horror. Or even watching a horror movie. Like I don't think I'd sit alone in the room watching a horror movie. I feel like I want people there to be scared with me, like a shared fear.
Share that, yes. Yes.
Definitely.
So you said you didn't normally do games off stream. So like, what is like something that you do for fun when you're not streaming then?
Great question. Well, as I mentioned, I've got 2 dogs. and a cat,
Love
but the
that.
dogs take up a lot of my time. So
Mhm.
I also have a day job. I work like a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday.
Mm.
So, I mean, at this point, I honestly live a pretty like routine lifestyle. I work and then I do stuff for stream, off stream, and then I stream and then I do stuff with my dogs. Like we go to the park and stuff like that. But I have always been the type of person that will invest like 100% of my energy into whatever it is that I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
I'm incredibly passionate about streaming. So when I'm not streaming, I'm spending a lot of time like researching what to do next or like playing games with friends outside of stream, working on content for other platforms. I spend a lot of my time and energy on this because it's what brings me the most joy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes absolute perfect sense. Sometimes when you start streaming, like it's like, well, what is a social life now? It's like anything that I do in my spare time is literally how does this feed back into streaming? It's like I don't feel like I do anything anymore unless it's like directly related to streaming. I think that's probably mostly because of the pandemic, though. I'm sure that you would have a lot more options if there was, that whole situation hadn't been going on. But
Right.
Yeah, I was
let,
going to say the streaming for me, I mean, I found during the pandemic, prior to the pandemic, I had never heard of Twitch, completely unfamiliar.
right.
And
Okay.
I started streaming in December of 2020, I'm going to say 2021, sorry, December 2021. And wait, what is math?
What?
What is that?
A
That
year
is
and
a
a
good
half
question.
ago. What year are we in? I started like a year and a half ago. So whatever December that was, a year and a half ago, that's when I started.
Okay, 2020
But
then,
yeah, 2020. But I found Twitch just a few months before, and it was at a time in my life. I mean, everyone was going through it, right? It was like the pandemic. I personally had a lot going on. I had been living in Nashville for 3 years and moved back home to Seattle in March, which is like the start of the pandemic, because I thought the world was going to collapse. I was like, I'll go be with my family. I lost my job that I had for 8 years. And at the time, my job was like that was what I was passionate about. I was passionate about building my career. So that's where all of my energy went into. I spent all of my time working. I was a retail manager, so my hours were wild. Like thinking about working, going into work, how to build my career is all I did. So when that wasn't an option for me anymore and I didn't have that to like fall back on, I kind of had to rethink about what I was going to find value in. And at that time is when I was discovering Twitch. I found Twitch through something that brought me joy off stream a lot, which was drag. I love drag. I've always related to it. And Trixie Mattel at the time was doing like Twitch Tuesdays where she would go and broadcast on Twitch. And I looked forward to it every single week. So that's how I found Twitch. And then I found drag artists through Twitch. I found Deer and Evo Queen. And I just like fell in love with the platform through connecting to other queer people, which I think is a really unique experience. I don't know if like queer people in general would seek out Twitch to be like the platform that they would connect with to people that are like-minded.
I think,
feel lucky that I found it.
You're absolutely right. It's a fantastic place to get connected with other LGBTQIA plus people. Like in terms of like how isolated I was before when I started transition, like Twitch was really the thing that got me involved in the LGBTQIA plus community. So I could see that being like so useful. And like you seem to have had such a massive effect on the people around you as well. They love you so much. I've noticed. And I did want to say a quick congratulations as well on your recent nomination. How does it feel to be nominated to be a rising star in the Gaming Awards?
I was truly shocked. Like I'm sure that's the reaction that you'll hear, but I was truly shocked. I got the Twitch marketing email that everybody got that was like, we're teaming up with the Gaming Awards to bring you this year's awards. So I just got that in my email and I clicked the link and I brought it to the article and my name was on that article. And I was shocked. I like sat here staring at my computer and then like my friends were messaging me like, did you see that you're nominated for this? And the gravity of the situation definitely didn't like kick in that day. I mean, it had to take some time, but it felt very validating, incredibly validating. I mean, I am not seen. I would say the majority of people that know me outside of Twitch wouldn't like. They don't know a lot about how I identify. Not that I'm not out, but they wouldn't. I don't know, it was cool to be recognized as like an LGBTQ rising star. It's very validating for me and my identity. I just came out as bisexual 3 years ago. To some of my family, I just came out 6 months ago.
Wow.
So it's nice to be recognized as a rising star within this community. It's felt very accepting, and I love this community. I love the queer community on Twitch. It's where I feel the most at home. So I'm very grateful to be recognized.
I mean, that goes back to what I mentioned. Like, it's because of the impact that you've had on the community since you started streaming that you were nominated. So that is something to be so proud of. Like,
Thank you.
We love you right back.
Thanks. Yeah, I've and like I look up to queer streamers, you know what I mean? So it's been like very full circle moment to have people come to me now and say, I look up to you. Like, that's been something that I never expected, and certainly never set out to do. Like, I didn't start streaming with any intention of growing my channel to what it is now. I had no idea this was going to be possible for me in a year and a half. And I didn't anticipate that people would be looking up to me at all. But it's cool I've had people who are members of the community say, like, it's nice to see, representation of bisexual women in gaming. I've kind of branded myself as like, hi, I'm ItsMeHolly. I'm a bisexual woman in gaming, because I'm proud of it. And so it's really special to me that people relate and feel comfortable in my space.
Speaking of which, speaking of other fantastic streamers, I believe we also had a question from Deer, right?
Jeff, question?
I'm looking at my notes here. It's a very good one. I feel like you might have I feel like from what we've heard, you'll probably have some good responses to this.
Oh God.
So it seems Deer wants to know, why is it important to be a wig in gaming spaces?
Well, it might help for me to define WIG. WIG is an acronym, stands for Women in Gaming. That's so silly. You're very silly. It's really nice. I mean, honestly, we all know that Twitch, people's perception of Twitch, I think in general, is a very heteronormative space in general. It's very dominated by male presenting individuals. The top streamers that you see are almost exclusively men, white men, heterosexual cis white men. So for me, it's important to continue to bring attention to other identities on this platform. I mean, for me, I'm a woman, I'm a bisexual woman. So I find a lot of pride in saying, like, this is who I am and this is what we've been able to achieve. And I do it because for me, it's very rewarding and fulfilling to see that we have achieved what we've been able to achieve without aligning with the identities that most do or would find like acceptable on a gaming platform. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's really special. I'm very proud of it.
As you should be. I mean, you're making strides and waves, and I'm sure that there are plenty of, women or femme presenting people who like watch your channel and be like, like, it's cool that she's doing that. I want that to be me someday. And I'm sure you have inspired people to start streaming too.
It's so wild to think about.
Definitely. I imagine there are probably like so many people who will look up to you and get into streaming for that very reason. Actually, funnily enough, I have a question from Evo as well. Where did your obsession with horses come from, and how did you become the horse girl of Twitch?
Am I the horse girl of Twitch? Oh, no.
According to Evo, yeah.
Well, I'll backtrack a little bit. So before I started streaming, when I was like in high school, actually, I will admit I am a former horse girl. I love horses. I loved horses when I was growing up. And I, in high school, was volunteering at a horse rehabilitation facility and like actually adopted a horse and spent a lot of time working in rehabilitation. And I went to college. Actually, my major in college was equine science. I was on track to be an equine veterinarian.
Wow.
So things have really changed paths and directions. But I have a history with horses. And so, I don't know, I think it kind of tied in. I brought it out a little bit with Holly, Idaho, who obviously has like a very thick Southern drawl and lives on a farm. Since then, I mean, I don't have a lot of content revolving horses, so sorry to disappoint. I know it's very exciting for everybody, but I did recently purchase a game on the Switch on Nintendo. that I believe it's called My Riding Stables. I did spend $60
That sounds
on this game.
amazing. That sounds
Yeah.
amazing, by the way. Yeah.
It was like, if y'all remember like the Barbie horse girl games, it's very that energy.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it was worth a $60 price tag, but it is fun. So that's the kind of horse girl content that you can expect on the channel.
And can you really put a price on fun?
It's true. No, you can't. I guess I would spend $60 for fun.
I mean, somebody has to play those games, so yeah, it needs some stream representation. Definitely.
Target audience. Yeah,
exactly.
I was sold. Absolutely sold.
I love that for you. So kind of back on like how you, I have to assume that people have either thought about streaming because of seeing you, or I've already started after watching you. So if there was anyone else out there in the LGBTQIA community who would be thinking about streaming or planning on it right now, like what's some advice you would give them on just creating content overall?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I'm honest, when I think back to right before I started streaming, right before like the week of that I decided I was going to go live for the first time, I was so anxious to even just hit go live. I had never been involved in content creation to any extent. I mean, like I had an Instagram. I didn't even really have a Twitter. Like all of it was new to me completely. I know nothing about PCs. I know nothing about technology. I had to learn everything from the ground up. So to even just hit go live, I understand is probably a stopping point for a lot of people. Like the anxiety of like, what kind of content am I going to create? How am I going to grow my channel into this number? It's important to have goals and to have aspirations and ambitions. My advice would be to pick very small goals to start with. Like not have a goal of, I want to be a Twitch partner. Because like that was not my goal when I first started streaming. I didn't even really have a goal to get to affiliate. It was like one day at a time. Like today, I want to have a good time. I'm going to try to do this. I would say it's really important for people to just try new things. And obviously, if there's a game that you're super passionate about, play that game. But if you find yourself playing that specific game and you don't find enjoyment in it, try a new game. I don't know. I think for me, like being able to build the channel and the community that we have through creating a variety of content has been able to cultivate an audience that enjoys watching me experience games instead of me experiencing a game, or even more than that, the audience experiencing a specific game. Like it's kind of brought in people who want to get to know me better and get to know what I stand for and what I enjoy. Which I think is healthy in the long run because you'll be able to get to experience new things, get to experience different types of content and different types of games. So I guess long story short, don't be afraid to like try new things. Don't be afraid to look silly, and have small goals, bite-sized goals that you can feel good about achieving along the way to like work up to whatever your greater ambitions are.
Yeah, you mentioned like goals for people. And you set yourself personal goals, I imagine. Are there any like plans for the future, like goals that you still have set for yourself that you want to go out there and achieve, or anything that you want to do, whether it be like local conventions, getting out there to like TwitchCon, or what does the future hold for you? What do you have planned?
Yeah, I feel like the start of this year, so many things have happened. I did set out this year to see if I could achieve Twitch partnership, and that happens in February.
Congratulations, by the way. Yeah, I saw
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like reinventing what I want to accomplish next. I mean, something that's coming up that I'm really excited about with the awards is I am planning on going to London to the Gaming Live Award show, which I'm really excited about. I've never been to London. So assuming everything's well in the world and traveling is an option for me and it's safe, I am planning to go there and to be at the awards ceremony live. I would love to be involved with Twitch for marketing activations in the future, specifically with Pride. Would love to be a featured content creator for Pride. But I think just overall continuing to grow the community is something that I am looking forward to doing. But small bite-sized goals. This week I want to have fun and create content that other people enjoy.
Definitely. That's awesome goals. Okay, so we always finish with quickfire questions, and this is a very, very fun experience for everybody who comes on. It's definitely not terrifying at all when you're in the hot seat. So the way this is going to go, we're going to fire off some questions, and you're just going to say the first thing that comes. Well, not necessarily the first thing that comes to mind, but you got to answer quickly. Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, Jeff's going to start this off for us.
First thing that comes to mind. What's been your favorite game this year?
Martha is Dead.
Okay. Oh, makes me need to play it even more.
What was the one game that defined your childhood?
Zoo Tycoon.
Ooh,
Okay.
Okay. Favorite video game character?
Oh, favorite video game character. I will say Nia in Dead by Daylight, only because I think she's hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What game do you most want a sequel to?
Alien Isolation.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay. Who would be your dream stream guest?
Granny.
Perfect.
Ooh, very good choice. What game are you most looking forward to coming out this year?
That would require me to have a running note of what games are coming out.
That is true, yeah.
I'll say what game I am most looking forward to playing in the near future. Maybe if I can rephrase slightly, I am I'll be playing the new Jurassic World 2 Evolution, which seems really silly, but it's a lot of fun. The first one's a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to playing that.
Not silly at all. Okay, picture it. You're marooned on an island. What 3 games would you want to have with you?
Animal Crossing, because both islands.
True.
You know what I mean? So I can learn what to do through the game. Instant success.
Makes sense.
I'll say Dead by Daylight because I want to play with my friends. I'm alone on an island. Oh no, I need communication. I need friendship. Now more than ever, I need their support. Dead by Daylight. And I will say third, GeoGuessr, because you know what? It could help me understand where I am in the world. And I think that's so important.
Wow, those are smart.
That is some good answers. Okay, well, second but last, which game has the best soundtrack?
Ooh, that's a great question. Which game has the best?
Faster.
A fast answer? Okay, I'll say the first one that comes to mind. I know I just said it, but Martha is Dead. The soundtrack was really, really compelling and really
okay. I'll let you go a little bit longer though. What would you actually say? Because I'm actually intrigued.
I know, I got to think about it. The best soundtrack in a game. I really liked. God, I got to think of games with excellent scores. I'm having a hard time thinking of one at the moment, but I really did like the score on that.
Okay, Martha is Dead. Cool. And this last question, you can take your time on.
Okay.
Take it away.
So where can people find your content and what you got coming up?
You can find my content on twitch.tv/ItsMeHolly with 2 L's and 1 Y, a recently rebranded queen. And I also have been posting a lot on TikTok. I made it one of my other goals this year was to diversify my content on other platforms, and I chose TikTok to start with. So I am active on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all under the same handle, which is ItsMeHolly TV. You can find my content there. I try to post on TikTok 2 to 3 times a week. Little bite-sized clips. And in the future, hopefully, I'm planning to continue to diversify my content on YouTube this year. That's something that I want to work on. So hopefully that's coming out soon.
Heck yeah. And my lovely, lovely co-host, Jeff, what have you got coming up on your channel and where can people find your content?
So you can find me at twitch.tv/Jeff Brutlag anywhere. Well, on Twitch you can find me at Jeff Brutlag anywhere else. I've been posting TikToks at least if I can once a day. I try. I've been what else I've been doing? Been getting a little more active on my Instagram stories, so you can kind of see just what I've got going on in a day. And some things I have coming up on the channel. I'll be doing a charity stream for Mario Day this Thursday. We'll be raising money for Starlight Children's Foundation. I'll actually be playing Paper Mario for the very first time.
The first game or the second game?
I think it's the first. It's whichever one is on the Nintendo 64 console. I want to say it's the original.
Oh, the second one's so good. The second one's so good. I'm excited for that though.
And other than that, I recently got a key for the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster, and I've also never played that one either. And I love the Final Fantasy game, so I'll be excited to jump into that for the first time next week.
Hell yes! Oh god, my little Mochi has started screaming his head off, so I apologize if you can hear that in the background. And as for me, you can find me at twitch.tv/Miabyte. I will be probably doing more Elden Ring, if I'm honest, and trying to finish Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. I'm also going to be taking a look at Final Fantasy 6 the Pixel Remaster, and potentially Babylon's Fall as well. Square Enix sent me out codes for those. That's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see you there. Apologies, by the way, for if you saw me doing any weird stuff silently. I'm very sick, so I've been coughing and sneezing off camera. So, yes. But other than that, Jeff and Holly. Yeah, Jeff and Holly, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was so fun. It's an honor. I appreciate it.
I love your faces so much. It's been so much fun.
What?
Honestly.
That's wow, because I love your face too.
Really?
No, just wow.
This
like
whole thing.
Wow.
Now that I'm a year old now, this whole thing. Yeah.
And happy belated birthday again.
Oh, thank you.
Belated birthday.
I appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Gayming Podcast Live. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with another wonderful guest, won't we? For the audio listeners, I've just picked up my cat and he's about to try and fight me. Oh, yeah, there we go. Ow. Okay, he's a climber. Yeah, but we will be back in about 2 weeks' time with the next episode of Gayming Podcast Live. Isn't that right, Jeff?
That is correct. But
That's
also
fantastic.
You have something coming up, don't you? You have a new show?
Yes, we're also... Thank you. I almost forgot about that. We're also continuing Let's Go Gaming, which is our show that happens every single week. You can find me live either on a Thursday or a Wednesday on the gaming channel right here with Let's Go Gaming. You can join myself and two super special guests. Well, sometimes it's two super special guests, sometimes it's one super special guest. But we play all manner of video games with your favorite LGBTQIA plus content creators. It is such a fun time. It's so chill. Again, last time we did Fortnite, we've done Mario Kart 8, Mario Party. And on the next stream, I believe it's next Wednesday, it's going to be 8 p.m. UK time. And we're going to be hanging out with the wonderful... Oh my god, I don't know why the name has escaped me. We played because the name in the script isn't correct. Oh, that's amazing. Anyway, we'll be doing some awesome stuff, and I will remember that at some point before we actually finish the stream. But it's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you join us. I'm going to be playing House of Ashes once again. I'm so bad with names, unless I got it written down. We're going to be playing House of Ashes again. With the wonderful Luke Boogie, I believe it is. Yes, I got it. Yeah, in the end.
Luke is hilarious.
Hold it out. There we go. Luke Boogie and me are going to be continuing our House of Ashes playthrough at twitch.tv/gamingmag. So make sure to not miss out.
Yeah, and you can also follow the Gaming Mag channel here on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any of those amazing shows. And the podcast can also be listened back at any time on all major podcast platforms. And if you're listening there now, come on over to Twitch whenever we're live. And just head to twitch.tv/gamingmag and you can interact with us and chat.
Hell yeah. But in the meantime, wherever you are, don't forget to keep reading Gayming Magazine, and we will see you all very, very soon. Bye for now. Bye. Bye, everybody. I love your faces so gosh darn much.